Hello friends, I hope you're well. Welcome to day 10 of our 12 days of Christmas in July tutorial series. If you're just joining in, you can find links for the first 9 days in the description below. And don't forget to listen throughout the video for the question of the day. So I've got another folio to share today. Let me just open this up and show you. These are new to me pockets. I have never made a folded top pocket before, and it was a lot of fun and actually quite easy to make because this paper wraps around and becomes a pocket for the other page as well. So I have 6 pockets worked into this folio, and it holds these inserts. So I'm using those image cut aparts and sliding that in there. And then I'm also getting to use those 2x2 cut aparts, which I don't normally get to for my projects. So I'm excited about that. This is really chunky and really sturdy. Each pocket has those inserts. And then there are also a couple of full-size pages here for your larger pictures. So if that sounds good to you, then stick around and we will make it together. I've got this Simple Stories Boho Christmas collection to work with today, and I did not intend for my projects back-to-back to be from Simple Stories, but as I mentioned earlier, this is the year where I'm trying to be inspired more by the paper than the schedule, and so things did kind of work out that way. So this is the 12x12 collection kit. I don't have any of the stickers used in this project, so I can keep those for the next one. I'm going to start by creating the base, and these paper layers are all 6 inches high by 10 1/4 wide, scored at 5 and 5 1/4. So we're going to get 1/4 of an inch on our spine for each section, and there are 4 total for this. So I want to adhere these with that 2 glue combo. So I did already add my double-sided adhesive. There is a layer of Tombow. It's going to bring these together at the corner, making sure the side and the bottom are perfectly level and even. Folding that down at the spine and then pressing it to make sure that I have good contact. And I will repeat that process 2 more times, and then I will have the base assembled. So I've got those all adhered now, and I want to continue on by adding the pattern paper to these cardstock layers. So I will skip the front cover because we're going to add our trim, but all of the pages on the inside that are full size are going to be 5 7/8 by 4 7/8. And for the front inside and the back inside cover, I'm just going to add these with a layering pattern because I had some offcuts as I was working along. So I thought that would be a nice way to add a little bit of extra detail. We've got the pretty border from that green cardstock. So this is going to be the inside of the front cover, and we'll repeat that for the inside of the back cover. So now the remaining pages that we add are going to be inside the pockets, so definitely want to add these first, and I'm just going to use a combination of a dot and a plaid. So as I'm adding this plaid piece, you will notice it's a little bit shorter, and that's just because it came off of another cut. This will be disguised within that pocket, so you won't see that. Okay, that filled up pretty quickly. Now we have all of the pattern papers on the base. It's time to work on our pockets. And this is a new design for me, and it's going to take a little bit of extra time to get some score lines added. First, we're going to start with our pattern paper, and for demonstration purposes, today I'm going to use this piece of white paper so that my score lines will show a little better. But this is 12 high by 5 wide, and I'm going to turn it on its side and score it first at 6. Then I'll fold it. This is going to become the bottom of the pocket. Let me just check to see if everything is in frame. Okay, you can see all the board now. What I want to do is come in here and measure over 1 inch from the top. Then I'll turn it to its side and measure 2 inches from the bottom. Now you see we have kind of an offset here. What I want to do is mark this with a pencil. I'm using a pen today so that you'll be able to see it. Connect those lines so that you're essentially creating this triangle at the top. I did find it easier to line this up along the bottom here. I'm using my T-square ruler, and then I'll just position that so that the edge falls along one of the grooves, and then bring that to the groove along that line. Now this doesn't have to be exactly perfect because this is going to remain on the page. We're just folding it over. But now if you make a score mark here, you can fold that over and get a nice crisp crease. Remember, if you're doing this with pencil, you'll be able to erase that mark. And so now this is going to become your pocket, and it will be on one side of the page. Then you will repeat the process on this side until this is scored as well. This is what they look like. You see, you have one side done, and then you'd flip it over and then repeat that process on this side. So what I did was pick the patterns that would be non-directional, so I don't have anything upside down. Then I'll grab my cover, you see, and this will wrap around the bottom of the page. And I want to get that right up against that score line, so I know that everything is going in nice and even and level. So I'll hold it carefully here on the back, pull this down, and I'm going to add my Tombow very carefully right along this edge, and then also right along this, keeping it over a little bit so that none of it will squeeze out. And then I'm wrapping that around and pressing it into place. Then I'll keep a little bit of pressure on that while the glue sets up. So this is the only time that you'll have to be patient for this. The rest of the steps go pretty quickly, but this is going to seal up the sides of the pocket. And of course that score line will be on the bottom, so everything will stay nice and neat. Okay, let's move along. We can fold this one out and repeat that process. And now that one sheet of paper has become 2 pockets. And you would repeat this process for the remaining 2 portions here. We have 2 pages left, so we have 2 more pocket pages. So you can see I have all of my pockets added to my pages. This would be a good time to fold this down on the spine so that you can get it as flat as possible, and then just set a book on it and give it a little bit of time for that glue to set up. Off camera, this is set about 5 minutes with that book on it, so I know that my pockets are well secured. So now I want to treat this flap, and it was my intention to use this as kind of a layering detail so that we can add lots of fun patterns to the cover. But we do need to attach it to the base, and I think it would be fast and easy just to do this with a little bit of hot glue. Now I'm going to top it with a doily. I mentioned in yesterday's video that I got these mini paper doilies from Doodlebug Design. This time I found them in red, and so I'm just going to attach one here. Then I will just repeat that for the rest of the pages. Now I can go through and add another element here, another layer of detail. And so this collection had 2x2 cut apart images, and I don't always get to use them for my folios. Typically I wind up just adding them to A2 size greeting cards, but you see that I have all of these cut out, and then I've added a border of that same green cardstock so that I know it all coordinates really well. And then I pop these up on those 3D foam squares again, so we're getting a little dimension but not create too much bulk for the inside of this book. And I'm just going to preview where I want these to be according to what is in the background. So like, I think this looks pretty good here, and so I'll attach that one. Right on that doily, so that is adding a little dimension and then also a lot of detail. So I'll just continue to work through all the remaining 5 image cut aparts. So we've got all of those layers added now. I'm just going to add the back here. Wrapping around this beautiful stitch satin ribbon. Here's the pattern for the front cover. Layering pattern for the bottom. It's my doily, and I'm going to position this center from right to left, but much higher than middle. Got my sentiment here, die cut from one of the image cut apart sheets with a border of the cardstock and added with foam tabs for dimension. And then here is the flower arrangement I created. Remember that I had these in my haul video where I prepped all of my flowers. So I added that along with this magnolia from Really Reasonable Ribbon. I did swap out the center of that so that it would better coordinate, but I do have my layers of foliage here, netting, twine bows, and then more of that pretty stitched satin ribbon. Very careful to keep the layers within the border and then also not cover up my sentiment. I'm just going to add a couple of charms as I do with a little hot glue and string, all attached with hot glue and covered with a vintage button. Now remember that we have 6 pockets inside. Definitely want to fill those. So I have some of my pattern paper here cut to be 5 3/4 high by 4 inches wide. And for each sheet, I have also included a tag and a 3x4 image from the cut aparts. And I'm going to attach them at the top with this clip. And this will go right down into my pocket there and fill that up with lots of beautiful layers of that pattern paper. So let's just add the rest of these as we go along. So now it's time for the question of the day. Let me know where you're watching this video from. We are from Southeast Michigan. So Michigan looks like a glove and we're about right here. Let me know where you are watching it from down in the comments. The last 2 pages, I really love this very 70s inspired font. Oop, and I got as I'm adding these, it is getting significantly chunkier and heavier and thicker, and that is just how we like it. So let's tie this up now. Clip off the excess ribbon. And of course I do want to add my sequins. I'm adding those with Tombow. That's going to be all for day 10. Don't forget to come back tomorrow for day 11. And if you enjoyed this tutorial, make sure to give me a comment, like, and subscribe. Remember, you can find links in the description. And as always, I'm wishing you a happy and productive day. And I thank you so much for watching. Bye.